Welcome to the Mindset RX podcast, a show for functional athletes who want to gain the champ's mindset. My name is Tom Foxley and I'm the founder and head coach of Mindset RX. Today's show is all about my morning routine, not just from a point of arrogance needing to tell you about myself, but because I think it gives you a really good idea of just how flexible this process is. Before we get into today's show, this is probably the last chance you'll get to get on the Inner Athlete Performance Camp in 2018. So if you want to become part of the Inner Athlete Performance Camp, now is your chance to act. Head to mindsetrx.com/coaching, and from that point we can talk to you about your goals. We can get you involved in Mindset RX and kind of get you on board the Inner Athlete Performance Camp, because this 10-week process is, well, yeah, it's incredible to see. It's incredible to see the change that goes through people and that people find in this process. But anyway, if you want to become part of that, it's 10 weeks fully online. Head to mindsetrx.com/coaching and that opportunity will be waiting for you right there. So, my morning routine. Let me just start off by saying there's all the natural excuses that come up when we start talking about morning routines. Like, yeah, sure, Tom, it's fine for you. You own your own business. You don't have kids. You don't have the time you have the time to do this and kind of fuck around for an hour in the morning. You've got all the things, but I don't, because I'm busy. I have kids. I have a job to go to. Or a kind of a time job to go to. I have all these things in front of me. And the first thing I'm going to say is, just look at your language right now. If those are the things that are coming up, and I mean this with all the love in the world, if those are the things that are coming up, then you're never going to become successful in what you're pursuing, because you're priming yourself for failure. And we know this. We hear this the whole time. And the only reason I'm being so harsh with this is because I recognize it completely myself from my own process. So firstly, just watch your language and be aware that is dictating the actions that you take. But let's talk about, like, for just a second, where I started with this, because what may initially seem like, oh yeah, you've got it easy, Tom, becomes quite different when you know the full picture, which is, there were times when I was working 50, 60-hour weeks, earning next to nothing, because most of it was kind of prospective work with clients that I was working with in personal training. When I'd be up at 4:30 in the morning, going to coach people for a few hours before getting back and desperately trying to get a bit of sleep, then doing like a lunchtime slot and then getting like an hour sleep, sleeping in my car. I remember, God, the amount of time that I slept in my old Rover or my old Peugeot or my old Land Rover, like, it's insane. Like, just trying to get a fractional bit of sleep. And then doing the evening slots from like 5 in the afternoon until 9 again. So I'd do like 14, 15, 16-hour days, desperately trying to eat well, train in that as well, get my recovery in, try and hold on to a relationship with Harriet and kind of do all of these things. It's incredibly difficult. It's like, it was trying to find the time I found next to impossible, until I heard the bullshit that was going on in my head, which was, you're tired, Tom. You don't have time to do this. You don't have enough energy. And I realized I was like 21 years old. Like, I had enough energy. I was good for energy. I was eating enough food. I was training. Like, what I did need to do is get rid of that bullshit talk in my head. So getting rid of that, like, was the first thing. So I got rid of that step, or learned to observe that language in my head and just go, wait, check yourself a minute. That's not a useful way to talk to yourself. So that was the first step. And then from making it actually kind of practical, I did what I did in the last episode. Like, I found a couple of minutes here and there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, just a couple of minutes here and there in invest in your own mindset is the place to start. So I've gone from this very stressed way to kind of making it the primary focus of each and every day. Because last week, for example, I almost said the phrase, I had a shit week. And that would be the old language creeping in. I didn't have a shit week. I had a week that was a bit more challenging than usual. I had more going on. The affiliates, the Mindset RX affiliates are growing nicely, but it's investing some time into it. It's another thing into my week, and I kind of had a lot a lot on, and it felt like pressure. So I had this going on, and I just felt like this borderline angst that went with it. And you know what? The priority of my day was still my mindset work, because I know that when I've been through that before, what it does is it's not necessarily stop me feeling like that completely, but it takes like 80% of it out. It leaves me with this like residual amount of it. So I'm not overwhelmed and kind of bound up by it. I'm kind of free to act and take my normal actions, because we know that success in whatever area you're looking at it, success is not like a 1 day out of a year activity. It's the 364 days that lead up to it in the preceding year that kind of build to it. That's what we need. And acting within that like extended amount of time in consistent ways is what builds success. Like, after all, we're looking for an elegantly consistent solution. So doing a kind of a simple solution consistently, that's what we need. So elegant consistency is the phrase that I use. This is what we're looking for. Okay, we're looking to make this a daily practice, do it consistently. But anyway, here's what mine looks like, because I think it's a good way to see how flexible it is. Because some athletes I work with, they'll just spend like 40 minutes right at the beginning of the day doing all of their mindset work that I give them. They build this up across the 10 weeks of the Inner Athlete Performance Camp. But this is the way that I do it, and this is the way that works for me, because this is a one-size-fits-one solution. I get up. The first thing I do now is I meditate, and meditation isn't right for everyone. Like, let me just say that right. But there's other things that you could do to kind of get you in the right place for this. Like, basically, what I'm doing is my way of waking up, and it's something that I enjoy, that I pursue. Like, it's something that's personal for me. So if you play an instrument, spend 15 minutes playing an instrument. If you just want to sit down and spend some time with your spouse, do that. Don't, however, enter a reactive state and get on Facebook straight away. Get on Instagram, start scrolling through your phone, because this sets you up to be reactive throughout the day and puts you in a shitty place. So the first thing I do is something that I enjoy and that frames my mind and leaves me in a non-reactive way for the rest of the day. That's the first thing I do. Then I kind of like get up, kind of stretch out, and just kind of move around for a bit, and kind of become a bit more alert, and not even a bit more alert, a bit more human, I think is the way to put it. I get up, put the coffee on, and I've got a stupidly pompous and pretentious coffee ritual that I go to, which is like grinding my own beans and stuff. But I find that just that routine of making coffee, and the smell of coffee and coffee itself, obviously, is something that wakes me up and kind of makes me alert. And the ritual of going through it, and the grinding of the beans, and the pouring of the water, and making sure it's all the right temperature, and all those kind of things, they make me feel good, because it sets me where I am. So I get that kind of done and ready to go, and like I make myself coffee. I'll kind of bimble around. I'll go say hi to Harriet and make sure she's okay, see how she's getting on, because usually she's just about getting up by this time. And then I'll go and get my journal out. Because I'm a bit of a stationary whore, I have my specific moleskin notepad and my specific pen that I used to write with, which I take everywhere with me. And what I do now is I begin the exercises that I teach all my athletes, because I still do the work myself. It's such an important part of my own life, that and my own development, that I still have to do it as well, because it grows with you. And it's not even that I still have to. That phrase itself is terrible. I still get to do it. I still want to do it. I wake up and I want to do it. I went from a place of, I don't want to do this, I just can't be asked to, I really want to do my mindset work, because I know it's going to make me feel so much better when I do that. So I go and do my mindset work. I observe my inner athlete. I take my mental pulse for the day through that means. So I observe my inner athlete. And then I work on, okay, what is my vision? How's it going to feel when I get there? What is it like? What have I already done that's taken me close towards success? And what's like, how am I going to get there quicker? And then most importantly, what am I going to do for today? So I lay out my intentions for the next 14, 16 hours, however long I'm going to be awake for that day. I lay them out. And for me, this takes a while. Like I like to spend 20 to 30 minutes doing this, because I enjoy it. And like it's it's something that I can do now. I can afford the time. I didn't always used to be able to, and that's why I did the minimum effective dose, but I can afford the time now, and I want to afford the time towards it. I want to invest that time in myself. And from there, I'll start drinking my coffee, obviously. I'll take a few minutes and kind of meander about again, go and see Harriet, because like we only get a certain amount of time together, and it's nice to do things that reset my perspective on a daily basis, and actually express some gratitude as well. So I'll go there. I'll come back to where I'm sitting down, and I'll watch a few minutes about 20 to 30 minutes of something that I'm studying at the moment. So something that I'm looking at is kind of personality and what makes up personality. So I'll learn about that. I'll study something, because again, like you guys don't have to do this, but it's something that makes me kind of feel like I'm moving forwards. It's something that is in line with who I want to be, that I'm doing before the reactive stuff starts, before the kind of day-to-day activities start. So I get that in. Then I'll do some ROMWOD, because again, I'm prepping my physical body. I'm taking the steps now that I know that I might not have the kind of, I hesitate to say willpower, but the kind of, I may not feel as so important in the evening. Like I've just prepped where I want to go and the best steps to get there. I've just reminded myself what's so important about my life and who I really want to be. And then I do some stuff that takes me closer to it. Not huge things, but just small, simple steps. There's another drip in the bucket, as I like to say. Like, or Chris Moore said originally, like, I just put a few drops in the bucket because I know that they're my weaknesses and they're things I have to build up. And then I'm good to start the day. Like I've refreshed my perspective. I've observed what's going on in my mindset. I've observed my mental and emotional state. I've checked in with that. I've done something that's taken me close towards where I want to be, and I've reminded myself where that I want to be is. I've reminded myself of my own personal up, is another way to put it. And then, like, the day's my own. So all in all, I've done like 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe of mindset work in there. The rest of it's just stuff that I want to do because it puts me in a good mood. And in the evenings, that's when I perform my AMWAP. Okay, my as many wins as possible. Whatever I've done that has taken me close towards who I want to be in the last 24 hours, I write that down or I discuss it with Harriet, and that's when I do it in the evening. And the other thing as well, like if you've been through the Inner Athlete Performance Camp, you'll be thinking, oh, but where's his visualization work? Where's his imagination work? Because as we know, that's a very important part of our day-to-day life and becoming like and generating that mindset that we want to have. And this is where I just drop it in throughout the day, because some people respond really well to like 20 minutes and 30 minutes of just lying there with their eyes shut and imagining things. And like, if that's you, that's fine. But for me, it's little drops throughout the day. Like literally, as I walk through a door threshold, or each time that I go to the loo, for example, or grab some water, I'll just reframe myself like, this is who I want to be. This is what I want my life to look like in 3 years. And by doing this, I take out those emotional and mental wobbles that arise throughout the day. And I become more aligned with my mindset with the mindset I need to progress there. And that is today's show, guys. If you want to be guided through this process and helping you create your own mindset and the steps that go beyond what I've just mentioned, then the Inner Athlete Performance Camp is definitely for you. This is your last chance to get on it this year, probably. So head to mindsetrx.com/coaching for some testimonials about it, some more information about what it exactly is. And from that point, we can discuss and we can hopefully invite you on board and just honestly have an honest and open discussion about what it is and what it involves. But anyway, head to mindsetrx.com/coaching and apply for your spot there. And if you enjoyed the show, please tell a friend, share it on social media, or if you're very, very kind, you can head to iTunes and leave a 5-star review and some kind words about it. So I'll speak to you all very soon and have a great weekend.